What is up, guys? This is Linthio coming at you with an updated version, or a brand new version technically, of my school servants with a little engine called, where is it? There we are, the plants. So without further ado, we'll go straight into it. First off, I'm so happy this came back. It makes me teary that I've got a DT Trish and I can finally use it. So without further ado, we'll go straight into the deck profile. So to start off, we have the 3 King of School Servants. Don't really need to talk too much about this guy because here's your main win condition of the deck. You just bring him out with the biggest attack possible. Next up, we have 3 Lady in the White. This card is just absolutely so good. So many people don't realize how good this card is, and it's actually their downfall. Simply because if you can get like a King of the School Servant out who has a lot of attack, you want to try and make sure you get this out first. So different plays like with Mizuki or with White Mare, or things like that will be able to help you protect your lovely king. And it's very risky if you don't. You know, if you summon a King of School Servant into back row, there's a good chance it's probably going to get hurt. The funnier ones are when you summon it, they bottomless it, and then you just like, okay, right Mare, special summon it right back with an extra 1,000 attack. So, Lady of the White is a very, very important card, and that's why it is at 3. Next up, another card I think should be at 3 in basically all of the decks is White Mare. White Mare is just so incredible, being able to bring back your Lady of the Whites that are banished, or your King of School Servant that's banished, or being able to move itself or a School Servant back into the graveyard for an extra 2,000 attack if you do move it back is just so important. And it just means that you can really make some big plays, you can get over these problem monsters, and so on and so forth. Next up, one of the changes to my other builds, we have 3 White Prints. Now, you will see why a little bit later on, but I do have a couple of discard traps in here, so we'll just do these 2 here. Yes, they are Ultra, they stack a little bit, which is a bit annoying, but for the deck profile purposes, I'll use the Ultras. So, the reason why I've gone up to 3, because normally I have 2 and 2, which is it's fair enough, but I have a lot of discard outlets, and I have a lot of ways to send things from the deck. So being able to get White Prints off quicker and have live ways to get him off is really useful. Now you can put School Servant up to 3 if you so want, but the problem I have with that is that you have 2 vanillas in the deck that don't do anything, and you need to get rid of them. And I've been playing around with the different ratios of having 2 and then 3 of these because it just means that you're guaranteed to basically get it off twice. But you know, I'm just kind of thinking it's been working well with these 3 and 2, so I'm going to stick with that. And as I said, it's here because it's a couple of discard traps, so on and so forth. But I go into a couple of plays a little bit later on, just to show you how it works. Then we have 3 of the best card in the deck, really. Uni-Zombie. Don't really need to say much about this. This is one of the ways that you send cards from your hand or from the deck to the graveyard, and just a great way to basically mill your deck. Precise milling is the way forward. 3 Mizuki. I have discard traps, so I have easy ways to get it into the graveyard. Makes a great plays being able to bring back you know, the Uni-Zombie or a Lady in the White if I want to go for a King of School Servants play, so on and so forth. So it's a very, very useful card, and there are a lot of good ways to abuse it. It being at 3 is just one of the best things for this deck. Then we have 3 Mathematician, untouched on the ban list, and I didn't think it would be hit anyway, but you never know. Mathematician is just one of those great first turn plays. If you have a Uni-Zombie and you also have a Mathematician in your opening hand, I always advise people to go for the Mathematician. Now, the reason why I say this, unless you have a White Prince, if you have a White Prince in hand, then I would say you want to go for the Uni-Zombie play because you can do double mills. That's the only ideal solution, or the only ideal play first turn in my opinion. You want to do Mathematician simply because Uni-Zombie has more plays that you can make, has more opportunities and more just in general explosive plays. With Mathematician, it only does one thing. It mills and allows you to draw, especially if you're going first, and then this is probably going to be destroyed by battle. If they're going to spin it with some other card effect or do any way, shape or form, it just means that they are getting rid of that card in the non-conventional ways, which could be targeted for your normal monsters, you know, the ones that you really want, like King of School Servant, Uni-Zombie, so on and so forth. So Mathematician, in my opinion, is a really great card to start off with, and even if you don't start off with it, it's just, in general, just an absolutely incredible card that really helps the deck. So, going on to the plants, we have first Debris. So, I want to touch on Debris because I feel that this card is in my normal version as well. Excuse me. And a couple of targets is basically everything in the deck. It's amazing. First off, you can go for, pop it over here, go for a Lady in the White. 0 attacks, so that means you can go for a Clear Wing, or you can also go for one of the most important ones, Black Rose Dragon. So Black Rose Dragon is a really great card that you can go for. Then the level 5s you can make. And more importantly, you'll be going for this guy. But look at all these targets that you have. So these are your level 5 plays, and Samsonite Dragon, which I'll get to in a bit, which you'll see, is one of the main ones that you'll do. One of the nice plays that I like doing is Debris going into White Prince, syncing up, summoning the level 5, and then getting off his effect, and then you can maybe, because I imagine if it's in your graveyard, it'll be the second time you've activated the effect, you can then go for a King of Skull Servant. While it will be on 2k, it's still really strong, and it just gives you a lot of options. So the card is just parallel to none, in my opinion, for this deck. It really helps. You know, it's a great top deck and everything like that, and it works really well with the plants, which I'll get into in a sec. Dandelion, one of the best discard ones. Dandelion's just a great card. I don't really say much about it. Glow Bulb, while it is at 3 now in the TCG, I don't feel that you actually need to run any more than 1. Its effect that you can only use it once per duel is kind of the killer, and that's the only reason why I think you should run it at 1 in this version. That's the reason why I only run it at 1. And then the final plant is Spore. Spore's a great card, as we all know, so I don't really need to talk too much about it. One thing I do want to touch on is the lack of Lone Fire, which you might have noticed. Now, yes, Lone Fire is at 3 in the TCG, but the reason why I'm not running it for this deck is because the plants are an engine for this deck. They are not the main focus of the deck. My normal summon is incredibly important in this deck. And if I have Lone Fires, while yes, I might be able to thin out my deck by, 3 cards, Lone Fire, Tribute, Lone Fire, Tribute, Lone Fire, Tribute, and then a plant, that's great and all, but it's not actually helped me advance my plays in any way, shape, or form. Especially if you think like first turn play. Would I rather go for a Mathematician, a Uni-Zombie, or would I rather go for a Lone Fire? And it's a pretty obvious answer there. So that is why I don't run Lone Fire, because I'm pretty sure people would ask me. Going on to the spells, we have the 1 Allure of Darkness. I was kind of hoping this would go to 2, but nevertheless. 1 a Burial. I was actually thinking this probably should have gone to 2 in my opinion. If this went to 2, this deck would be really, really strong. So yeah, Burial's a great card. Foolish, yeah, Burial from Different Dimension, and then Foolish Burial. Because the card's great, it really helps you thin the deck out. You're normally probably going to hit the Mizukis with this, if I'm completely honest, or the plants. But you never know, it depends completely on the situation. But more often than not, when I have had it and been using it, the White Princes have already been used. So I'll be going for the other backup plays. 1 Raigeki, because Raigeki's still a great card. I've paved the way of taking out on the Dark Holes because there's no Djinn now, so there's no real point in playing it. But Raigeki's still a really powerful card that makes a lot of situations a lot better. So that is why we have 1 Raigeki. And then the final spell is 1 for 1. Now, 1 for 1, a lot of people say, why do I not play it in my normal build? Well, the reason for that is I just really don't like it that much in the normal build. It's a great card, being able to summon out your King of Skull Servant and such, but that's kind of all you want to summon. I mean, summoning out the White Prince is not really that much of a strong play, unless you can do other things. And I feel that it's just not that great, and putting in a discard card to get out of level 1 isn't really efficient. Now that I have the tuners in the deck and other things, 1 for 1 is just so much better. And now that I've upped the amount of things that I want to discard, it is just more consistent. So going on to the traps, we have 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Here is one of the discard traps. So Phoenix Wing Wind Blast is a great card, as we all know. And with the meta currently, we still have Burning Abyss running around and Satella Knights and all those things that we don't want them to hit the grave. So Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, really strong card. But it's not the most strongest of discard traps that I run. That, in my opinion, is Karma Cut. Yes, they are ulti. I love my ultis. This is kind of why I was waiting as well. I wanted to get my ulti discard traps. I know, Rarity Halt, right? So, Karma Cut is an absolutely incredible card, in my opinion. Reason why, it hurts so many decks. And the reason why, because not only are you banishing the monster, you banish from the graveyard if there are those copies as well. So if we look at the top decks, Satellanites hit the Altair straight away. If you have the choice between the Neb and the Altair, I will always hit the Altair if I feel that it's the best play. If there's like two Altairs in grave and they summon an Altair, get rid of that. Because they're only restricted then to making level 4 plays with only 2 of the monsters, unless they use like Call the Haunted and such. Really restricts them. Shadows, hit the Falco, anything like that, it's really strong. Even if you just want to get rid of the Construct or the Winder, great. Burning Abyss, hitting the Seer, the Graph, the Dante, everything like that is just so strong, and it just means that they don't get their effects off. Obviously, the discard is completely fine. So Karma Cut is great, and so much so that I actually really considering siding the third copy. And depending on the matchup, I could even take out the Phoenix from Windblast to put in for the Karma Cut, and then other side cards. 2 breakthrough skill. We do have a discarding type of deck, so we run the breakthrough skills. Just because we can easily use them, obviously, in the grave. Fiendish Chain is good still, but in this version I don't like it because, you know, if I want to discard stuff, I kind of want to keep things in my hand. So the breakthrough skills are really solid and just, in general, a great card. 1, Vanity's Emptiness. Card's great. Don't really need to say much about it, in my opinion. It's still one of the best traps around. Second, probably to lose 1 turn. And then finally, the 1 Torrential Tribute to make it 40 cards. Torrential Tribute is just great for watching people try and overextend. You can really punish them, and just in general, it's a great card. And you can get off some of your effects. You know, if you use it cleverly with like the Mizukis and such, it's really solid. So going on to the extra deck, we have finally the 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier. This card is just so good and I love it. While you might not be able to technically summon it that many times in this deck, it's actually not too difficult thanks to Unizombie. Unizombie being able to, you know, send the Mizukis to the grave to bring stuff back. It's actually not too difficult. Now, you could put in a Zombie Master in this deck if you so wished, simply because of the amount of discarding, and you know, you can make a lot of good plays with it simply because, you know, you can go into Unizombie. So you can Zombie Master, go into Unizombie, make it level 4, then you can maybe bring back the Glow Bulb or things like that. And you send the Mizuki from the deck to bring back the White Prince. There are just so many plays like that you can do. Trishula isn't difficult to summon at all. So, great card. Welcome back, my old friend. 2 Void Ogres. Void Ogre's great card. You do discard your hand quite a lot in this deck, so having Void Ogre is not difficult at all. And yeah, I just really like the cards. I've gone into 2 many a time, so it's not too difficult to bring him out. 1 Beals, you know, if I need him for, you know, the Burning Abyss matchup or anything like that, it's pretty solid. Even though Burning Abyss do run the discard traps like myself, Rogue decks, this is great as well, simply because they can't get over something like that. Level 7s, we have the 1 Black Rose Dragon, which I think is probably one of the best looking ghosts in the game. Clearwing's really easy to make, and you know, with Shadows still being a thing, it's a really great card just to use against the Construct and such. 1 Goyo, because I need a level 6, and Goyo's still pretty decent. You can use it for, you know, use the monster that you steal for the tuner plays. 1 Vulcan being able to bounce just stuff is just great. Problem cards like, you know, the Burning Abyss cards, such. Really great card if you're in a bit of a tight situation. The 1 Armades, because Armades is great. Again, it's just quite a familiar format, so all these cards are good against, you know, Burning Abyss, Shadow, Satellanites, everything like that, so it's solid. Samsarai, it's just, the Dragon of Rebirth is just, Samsara, sorry, it's just really great. Debris plays all day, and being able to monster reborn back a monster, you know, it's just absolutely incredible. So it's really good, and it puts your opponent in a really tight situation because they're really going to try and concentrate getting rid of this through the non-conventional ways, maybe bouncing it back or banishing it. So card's just great defending, buys you a lot of time. 1 Herald of Arclight, actually pretty easy to summon, and especially with all of the plants, pretty solid. So I like the Herald of Arclight. And then finally, for the synchros, we have the 1 Formula Synchron. Using this with Glow Bulb and White Prince, just all the mad plussing, it's just so nice. So yeah, great card. And then finally, the only three Xyz that I play is one Downer Magician. You can replace that for anything, but I like Downer Magician. The one Levier, because, you know, you can do a lot of different plays with that, banishing and all such. And then finally, Durlan, because card's pretty good. Being able to get off White Prince's effect is pretty solid as well, and while you're making them go minus is not a bad thing. So that is it, guys. I hope you did enjoy the deck profile. I will be doing a build of this that I just used the pure build, because, you know, it's pretty good. The plant engine sometimes isn't really for everyone, but I love this deck so much. I love King of Skull Servants, and it's one of my favorite decks of all time. So that is it, guys. Let me know down in the comments section below what you think of the deck and the addition of the plant engine with the discard traps. As I said, let me know down there. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I shall see you next time.